snap! Hey guys, it's Jazz and welcome back to another episode of Oh Snap. So today we are deep diving on a 2006 cult classic. It's Aquamarine. I have such an attachment to this film and I feel like so many of you guys do as well. It was another one of those really nice chick flicks that encompasses all of those classic themes of like girlhood, but also like Y2K fashion and music. And then like having that little mermaid element to it was honestly the spark, I feel like, for H2O Just Add Water. It was like Aquamarine walked so H2O could run. I grew up with this movie and was constantly watching it in my lounge room. My sister and I used to watch it together all the time because she got it on DVD. Do you guys remember those like DVDs that would come in a 3-pack and it was like 3 discs in one? So in this one, it had Just My Luck with Lindsay Lohan, Flicker, I think it's called Flicker, yeah, and Aquamarine. This film definitely holds a special place in my heart. I feel like it's one of those ones that I just have such a connection to because it just makes me think of my childhood. It's just so nostalgic for me and I know it is for so many of you guys. I had this one actually requested by one of you guys in my DMs and I was like, absolutely, I'm so down for that because this is one that I feel like I know back to front. I just love it. So I'm so excited to get into this one today and to chat all things Aquamarine. Let's get it. Now, the first fun fact that I love about this film is that it was filmed in Australia. They filmed Aquamarine in Queensland, which makes so much sense. They're shooting on the beach, and I feel like a lot of the time shoots do end up being in like New Zealand or Australia or somewhere external. Obviously, to shoot in Australia is going to be less expensive, so it was a great alternative, and I feel like Queensland is just such a great place for that. The film is actually set in Florida, so same kind of vibe. It's still that like beachy energy. I'm pretty sure it would have been filmed on the Gold Coast in Queensland. So Aquamarine starred 3 girls who are all icons. We had Jojo, not Jojo Siwa, Jojo Levesque, and then we had Emma Roberts, another icon of the time, and then Sara Paxton, who was a little bit older than the girls, and she was playing Aquamarine. This was Jojo's film debut. She hadn't really done acting before. She was obviously a singer. She had Leave, Get Out, and Too Little, Too Late, and Baby It's You, and Jojo also went on to do movies like RV and things like that. Emma Roberts is obviously also known for a whole bunch of films, but she's also very notable for Scream Queens, and then Sara Paxton was also in movies like Sleepover, and she was in Sydney White, so she also did a couple of other chick flicks. So those were the 3 key characters in the film. So if you haven't seen the movie, Jojo plays Hayley and Emma Roberts plays Claire, and the 2 of them are best friends. They both live in Florida, but Jojo's character and her mum are about to move away to Australia, ironic because it was filmed in Australia, for her mum's work because she's a marine biologist. And then Claire's parents died in like a boat accident, and so she lives with her grandparents and she's like terrified of water. The friendship duo is about to be broken up because Jojo's mum is about to take her away to Australia. And so their whole thing is like, how can we stop this from happening? Enter Aquamarine, because Aquamarine is washed ashore, and so she comes onto land. She gets legs for the first time. Aquamarine's mission is that she wants to prove to her dad that real love exists. And so Aquamarine needs help on her mission, trying to find someone that she can fall in love with, basically. And she tells the girls that if they help a mermaid, they get a wish. And so they are like, let's go, we'll help her. And so then she can give us our wish, and then we can save Hayley from having to move to Australia. And so that's basically the plot line and how everything kicks off. Now, honestly, guys, the start of the movie is really creepy. There's like this weird mermaid, like, and it's set under the water, kind of showing like something is brewing under the surface. And then they show what's above the surface. And like, here we are, we're in Florida. It's a sunny day. Everyone's just like living their best life. It's a chill beach day. And it's completely different. Like the vibe changes as a whole. There's like this 2000s surf beachy music playing, and Claire and Hayley are on the beach staring down their crush. Now, I just feel like it's so funny because obviously like all of these films play into these stereotypes, but the way I think they're like 14, 15-year-olds, and like in the movie it's so funny. They're like boy crazy. They're like reading these magazines and clicking off every word the magazines are telling them. They're reading this magazine on like how to get a guy's attention or whatever. And so the girls are sitting on the beach. Like, guys, firstly, the girls are like boy crazy. They're obsessed with this guy called Raymond, and Raymond is like this beachy guy, long shaggy hair. He's like the popular boy. He's older than them, and they're literally quizzing each other on his favorite things, like what's his favorite drink, Dr. Pepper, like that kind of thing. They're reading those teen magazines, which, guys, there was nothing better than those magazines at the time. Like the quizzes they'd have in them on like different celebrities, like what was Justin Bieber's favorite color, what's his favorite drink, what's his favorite food. Truly, there was nothing like those 2000s girly magazines. Do you remember like Popstar magazine? There was so many like that, and people just won't understand now. Like nothing will ever be the same as these 2000s magazines. You'd open up the center part and there was these massive classic posters, and you'd have to buy the magazine based on who was in it, obviously. And like if there was a poster in there of a celebrity that you were obsessed with, you just had to get the whole magazine, because what do you mean? And sometimes they would like fold out and be huge. Oh my God, obsessed. I really miss those posters. It was so cool. Anyway, so one of the things the girls read in a magazine was that if a guy likes a girl, he's gonna shake his hair, stretch his arms, and flex his muscles. And so they're like watching this guy Raymond, and they realize that as the mean girl enters the scene, he's shaking his hair, and they're like, oh my God, he's doing it. And then he starts stretching his arms and like flexing his muscles, and they like scream. They're on the beach. These girls are literally on the beach. They go, ah, and they like fall over, and everyone's like, are you okay? Oh my God. Now the mean girl in the movie that Raymond apparently likes is Cecilia. And Cecilia, she's evil. She's like here with her little bob cut, and that girl is basically trying to sabotage these two because she's like, no, Raymond is mine. You know what's funny though? I found out that the two girls playing Cecilia's best friends were actually both Australian actresses. And another character in the movie who I think is so cute and I feel so sorry for him is Leonard, who's the older like maintenance guy, the janitor, and they are terrified of him. They think he's so scary and so creepy. He's just this old man. He's literally the janitor and they're so scared of him. Anyway, I love that guy. Like truly, I used to always feel so bad for him and that they would always like act like he was so scary, only to find out later in the movie that he's actually super nice and actually ended up helping the mermaid with her research that she was doing. So he was a nice guy. Turns out he's actually a New Zealand / Aussie actor as well. Now, I feel like in every movie like this, when there's some like big change in the beginning of the film or something that actually will set off the trajectory of the film, that's always the most exciting part. And I used to love in this movie when that part came on, because there was a big storm and they were in the darkness. The girls were like doing some seance thing to try and get Hayley to not have to leave to Australia. And I used to love watching that scene. Claire's grandma walks in and scares them. And this is like 10 minutes into the movie and they've already squealed twice. They squealed on the beach when Raymond did the shake and the stretch and whatever. And they're squealing again now. I'm like, already there's this much squealing going on. Now, the next day after the storm, Claire nearly drowns in the pool. And she says that she thought she saw something under there, but no one believes her. And this is always what happens because nobody believes that anything was there. And poor Claire was left to seem like she was crazy. They're like, no, you're just in shock. But in reality, she just saw Aquamarine for the first time. But then Claire and Hayley decide to come back to the pool that night because they're like, we need to do some research. And when they get there, they start putting like fish food in the water and like trying to lure the mermaid in or to lure whatever was there. But Hayley's actually eating gummy worms at the same time and one of them falls in the pool. Now, when the gummy worm falls in the water, that's when Aquamarine comes out because she is like, I want a gummy worm. And they freak out. Again, they're screaming. This is the third time in like 15 minutes at this point that they're just Now, anyway, once Aquamarine comes out, she quickly becomes like their idol. I feel like they look at her and like, oh my God, she's a mermaid and we're obsessed with her. She becomes that girl. Aquamarine doesn't really know what she's doing. She's lost, she's a mess, but you just knew that she was the girl that everybody wanted to be because the way that she comes out of the water, she gets legs for the first time. Claire or Hayley give her a shirt to wear, and the second she grabs it, she starts putting it on. They're like, that's not how you do it. She's like, no, no, no. And she wears it as this like iconic halter neck dress that like only that girl would be able to make that random shirt, like a long sleeve shirt, look as cool as she made that dress look. And it's iconic. That ended up being like her look of the film that everyone remembers. Like if you dress up as Aquamarine for Halloween, that's the outfit you're wearing. I feel like Aquamarine is a very cute story of friendship because the way that these two human girls are meeting this mermaid that they don't know at all, but they're basically teaching her the ropes and showing her how to exist alongside all these other teenagers and try and blend in as a normal girl so that she can do what she's trying to do and achieve her goal of like finding true love. Like they have this mutual agreement, but they end up becoming really close friends. And it's really cute. Like it's a really nice story of how people from two different worlds end up coming together to create this special sister bond. And anyway, so in their adventures of trying to get Raymond set up with Aquamarine, Raymond does notice her on the beach because like I said, she's that girl, but she doesn't even realize it. He asks her on a date or something and she just doesn't get it. Like he's trying to compliment her and she's Aquamarine staying there like, huh? Like she just doesn't understand. And so the girls are explaining, he likes you, oh my God. So they start using their magazine tactics and it's just so funny. Like even though it's such a strong like girlhood film, there are just so many hilarious moments that really date it back to the 2000s. And like, I feel like those like typical chick flicks now don't really have as many of those themes. They start teaching Aquamarine that like to get his attention, you call him, he answers and you just hang up. She's like, wait, what? I don't get it. But it's so funny because when they ring and she hears his voice, she throws the phone out the window and she's like, oh my God. Not to mention that as she throws the phone out the window, she's screaming again. That's scream count number 4 in like 20 minutes. I didn't even realize until I made this video how many times they scream in this movie. They also try and ride their bike past his house to get him to notice her, and Aquamarine's sitting on the handlebars. That looks terrifying. And I was watching an interview where she said she was terrified sitting on the handlebars. So they really did it. I don't know how they did it, but anyway, she was sitting on the handlebars and she like flies off and then he has to come out and like, oh my God, his lifesaver jump. Again, it's just so classic think of like, you know, those 2000 celebrities with their long shaggy hair, and he like does this jump over the balcony in his house. He like, I think he was working out or something, and he like sees that she fell over and like jumps over the balcony, magically pulls a Band-Aid out of his pocket and does his first aid on her, and she's just like, oh my God. She's like, it's beautiful about the Band-Aid, and he's like, is it? Now, they do end up helping Aquamarine to get a date with Raymond, and she ends up with him at this like fete or like this, I don't know, fair or whatever, and they're like playing games together, and they ride this little, I don't know what they're called, those little boat things, but it's not a boat. It's like you get in it and you're like cycling with your feet on the water, and where they're in one of those together on this cute little date, and the girls are spying on them. And it's just really cute, like watching the way that throughout the movie, like the friendship between the three of them progresses, and like they're helping Aquamarine do what she's trying to do, which is the goal of, you know, showing her dad that love exists. But at the same time, like she kind of gives wisdom to the girls. With Claire, she's obviously got that fear of the water, and she helps Claire try and overcome it. And then at the same time, Hayley's really stressed about moving, and so Aquamarine's also like giving her advice about moving away. On that friendship note, it's also very much like big sister vibes, like when they all go on this shopping spree, and of course there is a shopping montage, because what iconic 2000s film doesn't have a makeover montage or like a shopping montage? It's just a must. Oh my God, I just clicked, because something that I spotted in this movie was that in the shopping scene, one of the girls is holding a bag that says Diva. You guys know like the 2000s shop Diva, like the jewelry store that girls like primary school, early high school would go to back then. I loved Diva. It was Diva and Equip. They were the two like accessory stores. And I was like, hang on, this movie was filmed in the US. Like, do they even have Diva there? Like, I only just clicked that it was shot in Australia. So they're using like just a local shopping mall, which was labeled Tampa Central Mall to look like it was in Tampa, Florida. But obviously they used an Australian shopping centre. And so there was a Diva there, which makes so much sense now. I didn't even click. Now, I do really like that even though Claire and Hayley had this obsession with Raymond, they still, with no jealousy, ended up helping Aquamarine to end up with Raymond. Like, okay, I get maybe he was a bit older, whatever, but like they were obsessed with him, like sick obsessed to the point where they ring him, they know his number, but yet they still somehow were happy to give their man to this mermaid. I mean, I know they wanted to fulfill their wish, but like truly, that was some girlhood right there, because they said, we're going to help you get your man. Quick, we're going to step back for you, girl. Now, talking about the big sister thing, we can't talk about Aquamarine without talking about the starfish earrings that she gives the girls. They basically have this tiny starfish, you put it on your ear, and it whispers compliments in your ear. It's so cute. It's like, Claire, you're so beautiful and so smart. It's honestly, I used to want that so bad. And like, where are you supposed to get starfish that talk to you? I don't know, but somebody make that a thing, because why doesn't that exist? There were so many cool things about her. Like I said, she was the it girl. Like her nails would change color based on her mood. They would turn like blue and then they'd turn red and pink. And I was like, I love it. On that note about the jealousy thing, there was never a single argument between Aquamarine and the girls. Cecilia was trying to bring down Aquamarine because she wanted to end up with Raymond and she was jealous of her, but there was never actually any, which is surprising because most movies like this end up having some kind of big friendship fallout. And even though Aquamarine is the it girl, there never ends up being an argument between her and Claire and Hayley. Claire and Hayley have an argument between each other. That's the only like friendship fallout there is in the movie. But like with Aquamarine, there never really is one, which is kind of surprising because usually there is. But with that being said, Cecilia is really trying to bring down Aquamarine's character. Now, this part used to scare me because when the sun goes down, Aquamarine gets her tail back, right? And so to hide, she ends up going up this ladder and into one of those like industrial water tanks. Guys, whenever I drive past one of those now as an adult, I'm a 26-year-old adult and I literally drive past them every time. And if I'm driving with my sister, I'll literally point out to her and be like, it's the Aquamarine tank. Like the way that all I see is Aquamarine when I look at those. Anyway, she goes up the ladder and like ends up in there after her date with Raymond. But Cecilia, the snake, comes along and takes the ladder away from the tank. So Aquamarine is trapped in that thing and it ends up being like a whole news report. And it's so funny because in this part, Cecilia's dad, who's actually a news reporter in the show, in real life is an Australian presenter as well, and his name's Sean McAuliffe. And I'd never realised until I was an adult that I was like, oh, it's him, that's an Aussie guy. So he plays Cecilia's dad. Now, along with the themes of like friendship, girlhood, a little bit of a romance element, you know what else it is for me? It's the vibes of this movie. It's like the themes of summer. It just brings you back. It feels like an early 2000s summer with your friends. Honestly, I don't know what I'm saying because I never really had this. Because I live in Melbourne in the city. I don't live by the beach. But it's what I imagine life to be like if you lived by the beach and you spent a whole summer there and like your whole life revolved around like being by the ocean and in the sun. What must that be like? I wouldn't know. But it feels so nostalgic of like a 2000s summer. And I love that. Now, yes, by the end, Aquamarine did officially find like true love with Raymond. This scene was just cooked, but like that final scene with just the two of them, like the kiss scene, sorry, that was one of the worst green screens I've seen in a while. I don't know what they were doing. Obviously it was shot in a pool and they tried, but like the background just looked really bad. And especially in comparison to most of the film, which looked quite realistic. I don't know what happened to that end scene, but like it just drastically changed and I was like, this is not it. I think it's also because they tried to like incorporate a storm in the end and there was just a lot going on. It looked a little bit crazy, but there was like, finally she did find the true love that she was looking for, but Hayley still ends up having to move away, which is really sad. I like that it's a bit realistic, like rather than her having to change everything and make her mum stay, she kind of comes to the realization. It's like that maturing by the end of a teen film, like that realization of like, well, actually our parents are also just trying to live their lives and they're just human as well. So it's kind of cute and like the mature end of the movie where they do realize that she's going to have to move, but they're still like talking about how they're going to stay connected. And at the end, they're like leaving each other on the beach and like they're talking about when they're going to next see each other and how they're going to have to catch up in the next summer. It's just really cute, but it's also really sad. I'm like, I just want to cry. It's a really cute, wholesome ending. And I feel like this whole movie, it just encapsulates everything that a 2000s chick flick was and should be. It's just perfection. I love it. And so that was Aquamarine. Now, quick side note, when I was listening to Jojo's audiobook, she did mention Aquamarine because, like I said, it was her debut film. And she mentioned feeling a little left out with the three of them. Like, you know, obviously there was Sara Paxton, Emma Roberts, and her. She spoke a bit about how Emma Roberts and Sara Paxton kind of came from those like wealthy Hollywood families, whereas she didn't come from a privileged background at all. She wasn't part of the music industry. Her parents weren't in the music industry. It was very much just like starting from scratch. So I think in shooting the film, it kind of had her feeling a bit left out because the other two would kind of do things together without her. But you wouldn't know it, like in the press and in the interviews, like it kind of just looked like the three of them were a trio. And I think they did still become good friends in filming, but it seemed like there was always that separation between the two and Jojo. But yeah, I think this was a cult classic for a reason. 2006 really said we're about to pump out the movies. Like 2006 also gave us Step Up, it gave us Material Girls, High School Musical, John Tucker Must Die, She's the Man. They really just pumped out the iconic films in 2006. So yeah, that was the 2007 cult classic Aquamarine. But I'd also love to know what you guys want me to chat about next. I love deep diving on films that you guys also love, so please leave a comment or message me and let me know what you'd like to hear next. My Instagram and TikTok are JasmineTXO and I have lots more content on there. And if you guys did enjoy this episode, I would love if you guys could leave a star rating on the podcast or subscribe to my channel on YouTube. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Oh Snap and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.